I would now like to introduce Stephanie Morales, Lindsay Williams, and Jillian Young to present the class reflections.
Honored guests, faculty, family, friends, and fellow nurses, thank you all for joining us tonight. We stand before you united, accomplished, and mostly exhausted. And it's not just because I'm 38 weeks pregnant. Many of us started this program with wide eyes, eager to learn. We all went out and bought our colored stethoscopes and matching blood pressure cuffs. A diverse group of people sitting in the same classroom, excited to see what our faculty had in store for us on that very first day. Little did we know what we had just gotten ourselves into. Nursing school is not for the weak, and they were quick to let us know. It seems like a lifetime ago when Miss Lisa Cooley asked us all to look to our left and to look to our right, because only half of us would be sitting here today. For those of you who are unaware, we started this program with over 40 people. And I'd like to ask all 20 of my classmates to look to your left and to look to your right one last time and give yourselves a hand because we made it. Of course, this did not come without sacrifice. The holidays, the birthdays, and the phone calls. It all took a back seat to our studies and the ridiculous amount of clinical work that needed to be done. I think our classmate Andrea said it best when she mentioned financial sacrifices were the most obvious. Cutting a two-person household income virtually in half can take its toll. It brings about a whole nother level of budgeting way beyond the ramen noodle diet. As if this new journey was not hard enough, some of us had some additional stressors to deal with. I can say from personal experience that news of a deployment is the last thing you want to hear when starting a nursing program. What do you do? Sorry. Pregnancy hormones. What do you do when your number one supporter is being sent to the other side of the world? Most importantly, what do you do when you haven't spoken in days and he finally has the time to Skype with you and you're in the middle of studying for a huge exam? Unfortunately, you tell him you love him and you'll let him know how the exam goes. And for those of you who have children and or nieces and nephews, I mean, where does the time go? Can you remember how big they were when we started this program? 2 of them were born mid-semester. And although our family members understand that nursing school is tough, it's hard to explain to a child that mommy and daddy can't play right now because the books are calling. All in all, these sacrifices were made for a purpose, for a dream. This journey was for the betterment of us, for our future, for a healthier community and those around us. These sacrifices made us stronger, better individuals. Before I hand off the baton to Lindsay, I'd like to leave you guys with this last thought. Now is the time for us to shine, the time when our dreams are within reach and possibilities vast. Now is the time for all of us to become the people we have always dreamed of being. This is your world, you're here, you matter, the world is waiting. Thank you.
Before I begin, I just want the faculty to know that if I use anything from any outside sources, I promise I type my reference page in APA format. It's well, I'll look for it later. Well, here we are. We have finally made it to what we have dreamed about since the first day of nursing school, our pinning ceremony. Today marks the day where we will transition from our expert role as a nursing student to our new role as a registered nurse, which really means we will now get paid for what we do. Just think that 2 short years ago, in 2011, we were just starting nursing school for the first time. And just so you guys know, our 2011 pop culture landmark was when Charlie Sheen had his mental breakdown and was kicked off 2.5 Men. So while that was all happening, we were secluded in our own little world, just learning how to take blood pressures and learning all the medical terminology. I will never forget the time that I had a patient whose medical chart said that he was a VIP. I thought that was pretty cool, so I went and told my entire clinical that he was a very important person, only to find out the next day that he had MRSA and was actually a very infectious person. However, this just proves how much knowledge we have acquired since the beginning of our program. Throughout our journey of these past 2 years, we have each found where our interests are and aren't. For example, I will never be a maternity nurse. Not only do I feel like I am going to break all the newborn babies, I also can't make it through a delivery without passing out and having a black eye for 4 days. Rachel, thanks for never making me go back there. And Stephanie, please don't go into labor now so I can at least finish my speech. However, despite our interests and disinterests, through our experiences, we can proudly say that we can successfully care for a variety of patients, including postpartum mothers, hospitalized children, psychiatric clients, and patients with interruptions in basic neurological, nutritional, respiratory, and cardiac needs. Of course, with these experiences comes secondary knowledge. For example, do not strip and milk a chest tube. Julie Roy can't talk on Fridays, or Mondays, or Tuesdays, or actually any day of the week. If you think a patient is leaking cerebral spinal fluid from their nose, you should probably taste it just to make sure. It is actually possible to host a baby shower on a coach bus on the way to Albany, and even if you don't get the answer right, you will still always get candy. However, despite everything we've learned, there are some things that we are absolutely glad that are over. Here are some things the class of 2013 will definitely not miss about nursing school. Care plans, critical elements, multiple multiples, the saying that while the answer is correct, it is not the most correct, Shauna winning every single Jeopardy game, stressful simulations in lab, a low GPA, reading chapters upon chapters of our textbook at night to cram for a quiz at the beginning of every class, and a measly 50-question exam that is over 3 weeks, 6 classes, 8 hours, 5,000 PowerPoint slides, and 900 million textbook pages of material, and somehow getting to the test and thinking, wow, all these answers are correct, or the one that I would choose is not even an option. Also, we will not miss those long nights of clinical homework when you're up at 2 o'clock in the morning. We would lose motivation and look for some sort of inspiration to keep on going, but could never find anything. So we'd go straight to Katie McAvoy's Facebook and find those words that would keep us going till our clinical homework was done. But with that being said, we will miss the laughs shared during class, the teamwork that we built together during clinical, the families we have formed with each other over the past 2 years, and the instructors who have guided us and informed us into being the registered nurses that stand before you, the audience, today. Now let me tell you about these new graduates. First of all, you would think that being nurses, we would be able to take better care of ourselves. However, this class is, well, special. I have never met a class that has been more ill in the 2 years than the class of 2013. And I'm not just talking simple little sniffles, I'm talking full-blown illnesses. Between all 21 of us, we have had small bowel obstructions, anemia, severe anxiety, hypertension, hydrocephalus, duodenal ulcers, brain tumors, meningitis, that was me, and malignant melanoma, and even deep brain thrombosis. And what a coincidence that these diseases occurred right after we learned about each individual one. I mean, I've heard it all. I think the only thing I didn't hear being diagnosed was hypochondriasis. But don't worry, friends and family. We didn't just diagnose ourselves. You should hear the diagnosis we have given to each and every single one of you. Our class also loves to eat. So thank you to Dunkin' Donuts and the vending machine located downstairs of our class for the fuel, because without you, we would have made it through the 3-hour lectures or put on those extra 5 pounds. But most of all, our class is compassionate, caring, intelligent, displays good judgment, and excellent critical thinking skills. With that being said, I am proud to know that at least 21 registered nurses will go out and change the future of healthcare. I am proud to know that at least 21 registered nurses are going to deliver efficient plans of care to increase the well-being of our patients' health. I am proud to know that at least 21 registered nurses are going to go out and become leaders and advocate for our patients' rights. And I am proud to know that at least 21 registered nurses are going to go out and make a difference in our patients and their families' lives. So thank you, friends and family, for coming out to support us tonight.
Mark Twain once said, "The two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why." We embarked on this journey for our own reasons. Some of us have always known that nursing was our path, and some of us have just recently found our way. Whatever the reason, we started this with hopes that we would like what we do. Not only have the last 2 years been strenuous, and some days downright overwhelming, we learned that the responsibilities of a nurse in a clinical setting are sometimes heart-wrenching and physically exhausting. However, I believe I may speak on behalf of the entire nursing class of 2013 by saying tonight is a celebration of our purpose as individuals, and we love what we do. How extraordinary it is to think all of us have chosen nursing as our career, knowing that we may leave work tired, stressed, or mourning the loss of our patient. And despite all of these emotionally draining experiences that we may encounter, as astonishing as it may seem to you, we will go to work with the faith that we have the ability to change lives. We have worked tirelessly to develop hands that move to heal, ears that listen to what is unspoken, and eyes to see what may be hidden. We learned very quickly that though the profession of nursing depends heavily on physical skills, manual dexterity, and emotional endurance, it also relies on the key traits of compassion, patience, empathy, and diligence, those which no nursing program or curriculum can teach you. All of these traits can be found in these incredible individuals sitting before you. For these are people who have worked attentively to cultivate the physical skills needed to succeed, but also have embraced these characteristics that they possess that are inherently part of their beings. The most ironic thing about this journey through nursing school is that the very first lesson we are taught is about presents. No, not a present we get on our birthday or at Christmas, but our physical presence. We all thought, sure, presents, I can do that. We quickly realized we would have less presents at social events and more presents at the dining room table in front of a computer with at least 3 books and a couple cups of coffee. However true that may be, that wasn't what nursing school was trying to teach us. Instead, our instructors had another idea of presence. We were taught the significance of spending some time holding the hand of a fearful pediatric patient struggling to catch their breath, or sitting to lend a listening ear to a psychiatric patient aching for someone to see them beyond their mental illness. These things had a superficial meaning until we watched the See Me Nurse video, which reveals that our patients are defined by much more than an illness, diagnosis, or disability. I heard promises from my fellow students of becoming the nurse that will always care for patients with dignity and respect, even those who are most vulnerable, requiring bathing, feeding, and toileting. We may lose this idea of presence as students in our quest to digest several dozen heavy textbooks in a 2-year period. We can lose sight of this asset and begin to live in fear that we do not understand enough material, that we will not pass the next test, get a U on our care plan, or fail a critical element. But I've found that worrying about the material allows us only to go through the motions to complete tasks, neglecting the opportunity we are afforded to holistically care for our patients. And anyone can do that. We sit here tonight with mixed emotions. We are so excited that we finally made it. This ceremony is the light at the end of the tunnel that we've all been working for. And we are here, indeed, to celebrate all of the hard work that we have invested in this journey. But this special evening also marks the end of our journey together. As we go our separate ways into the world of nursing, whether it take us to a local hospital or clinic across the country, into the mental health unit or the operating room, with a classmate or on our own, we will take with us all that we have learned and all that we've experienced together as classmates and as friends. What a transformation we've made. I urge each of you to never forget the first day we were energized and invigorated with empathy and compassion for our patients. Let this same compassion guide every encounter with every patient. And remember, our words and our touch and our presence hold the magnificent potential of healing. With the pins we are about to receive, we are making the transition from student to professional as we enter one of the most revered and admired professions in medicine. As Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "To know one life has breathed easier because you have lived, that is to have succeeded." We are here and we finally made it. We are nurses. Congratulations.